Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to October's interval training. I'm Rebecca Campbell, Senior Director at Peloton. Thank you for joining today's training, which is all around Oracle guided learning. The format for today is roughly 20 minutes of a demonstration by my colleague Leslie Matson, followed by a few minutes of Q&A. Just a few housekeeping items before we get started. Everyone will be muted during the training and chat will be disabled. So please put your questions in the Q&A. We will be monitoring that thread and we will get to the questions after the demo. If you have additional questions or we weren't able to get to your question today, please feel free to reach out to us. Also, if you have ideas for future trainings that you'd like to see, please let us know. And without further ado, let's get into the training. Over to you, Leslie.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining this session. We're going to talk all about Oracle guided learning today and really learn about the benefits of using a digital adoption platform alongside your Oracle Cloud applications. All right, so I'm going to get started here with just a couple of slides, and then we'll dive right into the demo just after. So we know that adoption can be a huge barrier to success with your application and with your implementation. We often hear employees say, we want to change, things aren't working the way they are today. We want something new, we want something better. But then as you're going through your implementation and you're going live with your new deployment, oftentimes you still hear some resistance and people saying, oh, I'm just not sure about this. I'm not sure about it. And really that resistance doesn't come from a lack of wanting. It comes from a lack of knowledge and ability. And really the knowledge around what the new business processes are, what the steps are to take to do the activities that they need to do their job successfully. And, employees just haven't picked up the new ways of working and they aren't quite sure how to perform their jobs anymore. So, really Oracle guided learning is here to support you in all of these adoption needs, learning the new steps. It's a communication vehicle for your stakeholders who are using Oracle. And, really Oracle guided learning is here to support you so that you can support your employees in using the application better. All right. So, what do you think about when you think about Oracle guided learning or really any digital adoption platform? You want to think about it like a GPS system that's sitting on top of Oracle. So it's launched by the employee when the employee is feeling lost in the application, just like you would launch a GPS if you were driving to a new place. Oftentimes, people ask me, does OGL replace training? And the answer to that is no. Again, back to the driving analogy, just like when you're learning to drive a car, you go to driver's ed, you learn the rules of the road, you learn how to operate your vehicle, and that's what we would do in training. And then you use a GPS system to get you to new places when you're going somewhere you've never been before. And really, that's what Oracle guided learning is all about. It's that in-application guidance that brings you from point A to point B. We generally recommend, enabling guides that are, for your largest stakeholders, the people who aren't using Oracle day in and day out. Think about if you haven't traveled in a long time and you have an expense report that you need to put in, you want to be able to do that immediately, but you haven't done it in quite some time. Maybe you don't know who to ask and who to go for. Oracle guided learning is a perfect use case for that, and it can walk you right through the steps of how to submit an expense report. All right. So, features and functionality of Oracle guided learning. So I want to start by saying there are a number of digital adoption platforms that are in the marketplace today. The reason that we recommend using Oracle guided learning is because it starts with a library that's full of standard guides that match the out-of-the-box configuration of Oracle. So you can see here there are over 500 guides in the library for ERP. There are over 650 guides for HCM. So all of these guides are out there and available, and all you need to do is enable them and then personalize them to meet the needs of your application. So typical guides that we see about 95% of the time are interactive process guides and smart tips. So the interactive process guides, really think about this as your GPS. So this is the step-by-step, you kind of click and it guides you through and walks you through, in this case, how to submit an expense report. A smart tip is a hover over option or a hover over menu that you can put on any field throughout the application to provide more information about that field to your employees. So maybe you have a certain naming structure, naming standard that you want to use. Oracle Guided Learning is a perfect situation for that, where you can provide some more context to your employees. In addition to the interactive process guides and the smart tips, there are a variety of other types of assets that are available. So there are pop-up messages, really thinking about time-sensitive information that you want to provide to your employees, beacons. So if you want to highlight that maybe there's been a policy change or a process change, there's a red blinking beacon that you can highlight to your employees. You can run surveys through Oracle Guided Learning. So you can gather information, gather feedback from your employees. You can put guides into task lists. So if you have certain activities that have to take place in a certain order, you can do so in a task list. And then lastly, you can always link out to other sites. So if you have some documentation out on an intranet or a learning management system, you can use the links to link out to that as well. All right. So all of your Fusion environments, all ERP, HCMs, CX environments, you actually have access to enable up to 15 guides without any additional licensing. There's a form that you fill out. This is a link to the form, and we can provide this out to everyone as well. But basically, you fill out this form and you are given access to the Oracle Guided Learning console, which we're going to get into here, and you can enable up to 15 assets. If you want more than 15, there is a licensing impact to that, and that's something that we can certainly work with you and work with Oracle to get you more information on it. Once you have access to the console, once you've enabled your environment, there are just a couple of setup tasks to connect Oracle Guided Learning to Oracle Fusion. And it takes a short number of steps to do that. And then you're set up and able to start launching these guides. We always recommend starting with the use case library or the base library, starting there and using those and then personalizing them along the way. All right, so with that, I'm going to jump right into the demo here. So give me just a minute and we will launch this. All right, I'm going to start actually by logging into the front end of Oracle. Sorry about that. Give me just a second. Great. I'm going to log in here and show you as Natalie. Natalie is a sales rep, and she has access to certain guides that are available to her in her role. Sorry, this is just here we go. All right. So Natalie's a sales rep. She has access to standard information in Oracle as a sales rep. I'm going to open up the Oracle Guided Learning widget. So over here on the right-hand side, this little widget, I can pick it up and move it. Standard placement for it is here. I'm going to click this Help Center, and you can see that there are a number of guides that are available to me. So Natalie is experienced in her job. She knows how to create an opportunity. She knows everything she needs to do, but she has not created a requisition in a long time, and she really needs a new laptop bag. So she's going to come into Oracle Guided Learning, and she's going to launch this guide that's going to help her with all of the steps that it takes in order to request a new laptop bag. So you can see here that the guide is opening for me, and it's telling me where to click and what to do. So I'm going to, continue to follow these steps. In this example, you can see that there was a red light that was flashing here, and that's what we call a beacon. And that beacon is providing a little bit of additional information. So we have just some information that we want to provide to our user. And then I have menu items, and these are the menu items that can be personalized. So, this is just an example of how I am going to add, my laptop bag into my cart. I can go ahead and click add to cart. When I'm finished with my purchasing requisition, I can click next. I can view my cart. So it's going to continue to walk me through all of these steps that I need to do in order to complete this transaction. And we can keep going. I'm going to just click close here. I think you understand where we're going here. All right, I'm going to log out as Natalie, and I'm going to log back in as Lisa. Take Lisa Jones. Lisa Jones is also a sales rep, but Lisa is new in her role, and she really doesn't understand how to do all of her roles, all of her work. So she has to create a new opportunity here. She's been given a manual, but she just isn't sure where to click and where to go. So in this instance, I'm going to select that. I'm going to say select opportunities. I'm just going to follow these steps here. So select create opportunity, click here to learn more about opportunities. This is an example of a link that I can put out to any site to provide more information. I'm going to click the plus button here. And here's a really good example of using a smart tip. So this smart tip is embedded in our process guide. And this is providing more information about how to name your opportunity. We all know that there are naming standards that we have for, journal names or invoices, different areas of the application. And this is a nice opportunity to provide that guidance to your employees for what they should use to name, in this example, an opportunity. Here we're also seeing a relatively generic menu item. This says fill in mandatory and pertinent fields and then select save and close. And we can see save and close is highlighted. This is an example of where I would say if this is the type of guide that you would like to enable, we would personalize this menu item to be more specific for your needs. And I'm going to show you how we do that. It's pretty simple, pretty easy to do. But you may have more information that you want to provide to your user about what it means to create an opportunity, when you would do it, what the different fields all mean, and you can modify these menu items accordingly. Something else I want to show you here is you can see that the number of guides that are available to me here have decreased. And the reason for that is because it's saying you're already on the Create Opportunity page, and it's trying to give you the help that it thinks you need. So it's not going to show every single guide that's available to me. It's going to show me the guides that are available from this page, thinking that this is probably something that you're trying to do. I can still get to other guides if I want to. So if I, happen to be here and I say, you know what, I'm not ready to create this opportunity. I actually need to create an expense report instead. I would be able to search for a different guide and open it from here as well. These guides are also driven by security. So you would have access to the guides that make sense to you, and other users would have guides that make sense to them. So your salespeople versus your finance people, they may have different guides available to them. I'm going to cancel out of this, and I'm going to go back to our homepage. All right. Another really nice way to use Oracle Guided Learning is with messages and general navigation. So this is an example of a video You could have a welcome video from, say your CFO or your CEO. If you'd like, when you are onboarding employees, you could have that video here. This is a general navigation video, so it would bring new employees who are just onboarding into the organization through how to use Oracle. And again, this is all right out of the box. I didn't have to do anything to turn this. It's just here and available. And the last thing I want to show here is just this ability to not only launch the guide, but also to launch a step guide. And the step guide is back to the map analogy. Instead of having a GPS running in the background, it's really all about having a map available to you, a physical map. So different learning styles, different people learn different ways. And some people want to see all of the steps one by one available to them before they start this process. Maybe they want to make sure they have all the required information, or it's just a helpful way for them to learn. You can always launch these step guides. You then have access to print the step guide. So if I want to print it and make it a manual that I keep on my desk, I'd be able to do that. And this is available to me right out of the box from OGL. All right, I'm going to log in I'm going to actually go over to the Oracle Guided Learning console. So the console is the place where when you enable Oracle Guided Learning, this is where you manage all of the content for Oracle Guided Learning. So when I come into the Oracle Guided Learning console, I have a home page, and this shows me all sorts of different information. The first place I'm going to bring you to is the library. So the library contains use cases, and these are the standard use cases that Oracle sees when working with any of these different business processes. So for example, accounts payable. If I click into the details here, you can see that when we enable accounts payable, the accounts payable module, these are the standard Oracle Guided Learning guides that are typically enabled. There are many others available, but this is what is kind of recommended. We can see some of them are processes. It says on the top left, a process, and some of them are smart tips. If I want to preview any of these, I can click this little preview button, and I can click preview, and it's going to show me what this guide looks like. So the first thing it's going to do is it's going to bring me to a welcome screen, and then it's going to guide me through the work invoices overview and kind of walk through all of these different areas. Here's an example of accounts receivable. These are the standard guides that are part of the accounts receivable use case. In addition to the use cases, I have all of the content in this base library. So if I filter by just enterprise resource planning, you can see that there are 518 guides available out of the box from the library for ERP. Within ERP, if I know that my employees are having trouble reinstating an asset, that's something that we don't do very often, and we know that's something that we need someone to do, and they just aren't comfortable with it, then I can look here and say, oh, there is a guide for reinstating an asset. Let me preview it. Take a look at the preview. And I can see these are all of the steps that need to be taken in order to reinstate an asset. Click on reinstate assets, etc. And I say, you know what, this is something that I think my employees could really benefit from. So at that point, I'm going to click this plus button. I'm going to add it to my content. All right. Up in this area here, which I skipped over, this is all of the content that I have enabled. So you can see here we have a variety of different guides that are available. This is in a demo environment. And what I want to do is I actually want to bring you into this create expense report. So from here, I'm going to log into this demo environment. Sorry about that. And in. Okay. So you can see I'm logged in as myself. When I click here, we can see that there's a guide called Create Expense Report New Items. This is the Create Expense Report New Items guide. And I actually want to edit a few things. I want to edit the name of it. I also want to, when I open this up, it has some information here that doesn't pertain to us and isn't necessary for my employees. So I want to change this. The other thing I want to do is when I open the step guide, I want it to show screenshots from my environment. So you can see here that this is all set on the Vision application with a system administrator. So I want to enable screenshots from my environment. So I'm going to open up the editor here. Click this editor. I'm going to launch the editor. I'm going to rename it. I'm just going to say create expense items, and I'm going to take that new items off. Now I'm going to go to this first menu item, and I'm going to edit this tip. I'm going to take this off here. And then I'm just going to say this guide provides instruction to create expense reports for business travel. And leave it at that. Now I have this option here for auto capture. And that auto capture means that as soon as I save this step, it's going to take a new screenshot to put into my process guide. So I'm going to say save and exit. And then I'm going to go here. This is select me. I'm going to edit this and make sure auto capture is on. Save, exit. Save and exit. Okay, so now the name of this report has changed, and I should have a couple of screenshots that are available to me. So I'm just going to refresh my page. I'm going to allow Oracle Guided Learning to re-enable. And we can see here my Create Expense Report has been updated. If I click my step guide, we can see that we have a new screenshot. So this is with my environment. We can see my logo on the top corner, and we can see the updated screenshot here and the me. So we went 2 steps in and said capture image, and we can see that that's been updated as well. All I would need to do is continue to click through and capture those, and all of the screenshots would be updated automatically. This is a huge savings as it comes to creating job aids. So, definitely see a lot of benefit here using Oracle Guided Learning for this. Now, if I launch the process guide, we can see that it's been updated as expected, and it's going to walk me through how to create an expense report. Create report. It's going to say put in a purpose. I went to a conference. I'm going to click next. It's going to ask me to select create item. At this point, this is another example of a menu item that I would personalize. I would probably put a little bit more information here for you about what kinds of expenses to put in, which date to put in. Here we can see a smart tip for our type field. So all of this can be personalized to the needs of the business. Okay, the last item I wanted to show you is a little bit about the analytics and reporting. So the reporting that's available through OGL is spectacular. You can see all of the guides that are being launched. You can see how many times they've been run. You can see if people are searching for items that are not available in the application. You can see what people are searching for. So all of this is really critical. I have an example of I was launching this for a client last year, and they implemented HCM, but they didn't change their 401k process. Their 401k was still going through another module, another system. And people were coming into Oracle and they were searching for 401k. And that was, that showed us as we saw those search terms coming in that we needed some additional communication about how to access 401k information. And we created a little message box that when somebody searched for 401k, there was a message that said 401k is managed through this. And, here's a link out to get to that site. So it's really important to be able to see what people are looking for and be able to react to that a little bit and provide them with the information they need. So with that, I think that's the end of the demo here. Let me come back over. And, if you have any questions, if you have any, I can't find my mouse. Here we go. If you have any questions or comments, please, by all means, you're welcome to reach out to me, and I'm happy to take any questions as they arise.
Thank you, Leslie. That was fantastic. We actually did have a few questions. First one, can smart tips be directly embedded into the user interface outside of the guide or help menu?
Yes, or the smart tips can go directly on the application. So any of the fields that you have there, they can be embedded and you can place them anywhere on the screen. Something else I didn't mention is Oracle Guided Learning can also sit on top of non-Oracle applications. So for example, OTBI. OTBI is a reporting platform that launches outside of Oracle. It does require an extension, but we can work with you on that, and you can actually set smart tips or guides that lay on top of OTBI. If you had Salesforce, for example, you could put OGL on top of Salesforce if that was of interest as well. Again, none of that has the base content from the library, but you can create an extension and put OGL on top of anything. Any HTML. So, it can't go on top of Excel, but it can go on top of any kind of HTML tool.
Okay, great. A couple more here. How long does it take to get standard guides up and running?
Very quick. So standard guides, to turn them on outside, if you're just turning them on out of the box, it's a very quick process if you have the right access to the application. As you saw here, I had turned on that expense tool guide earlier today, just so that I had it enabled. And then I was quickly able to make a couple of edits and also update those screenshots in just a few minutes. So the process is to turn on the guide, make any adjustments to those menus as you see fit, take the new screenshots, test them. You want to go through and test them with your users. And then it's really just a button that you click in order to put it into your production environment.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. And then finally, can you create OGL guides from scratch?
Yes, you can. So that takes a little bit more work, but as I was mentioning, something like, if you have an OTBI report and you really want to provide more information to your users about that report, that would be one that you would build from scratch. It takes a little bit of work because you really have to structure it up, but you can certainly do so and make it work for what you need.
Excellent. All right. Well, that is all of our questions, and that is the end of our time together. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Really appreciate your time today. Again, as Leslie said, please reach out if you have additional questions, and keep an eye on your inbox for next month's training. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.